gets a little crowded fast when we do it this way. It's weird. I think I have two again. Oh God, the references and the way they come. So I do have two. Um, both male this time. Um, have you guys seen the movie Get Him to the Greek?
Yes, very much. I
One
love
of
that
one of
movie.
my favorite movies. Um, the guy's name was Aldous.
Yeah,
Aldous, right?
yeah.
That's why I'm getting that. Okay. That is a first name of one of them. Okay.
Is it Aldous Huxley?
Yeah, lineage is like a very, I think a very famous or someone we know, like a scientist or something that we would know. Yeah, but Huxley's the right name. There's a like his grandfather or father or uncle or something was what is it? T uh, T Huxley. We'll have to see. Yeah, find out. But yeah, okay.
Okay, so Aldous was the grandson of Thomas Henry Huxley.
T. Okay, T. All right, there we go. Yeah. Um, yeah, you have it. So okay.
Yeah, his
Um,
grandfather was called, he was a zoologist, agnostic, and controversialist who had often been called Darwin's bulldog.
okay. He's not with us,
Right.
but Aldous is.
Yeah.
He just was, this is kind of, it comes really fast, and then I just sort of try to decipher it. So it was how I was gonna recognize.
Aldous was an English writer and philosopher and wrote 50 books.
He says you're. I think we might be missing it a little bit there on what, like, he made fun of things. He's saying he really was his books or the things that he wrote, a lot of them were um, making fun of something like a spoof or a satire.
Mm.
All right, so we're going to get into that a little bit more. Uh, he's pretty clear. So the other one with him, though, I think that they're wanting to do is really speak with one voice. They're just trying to help me identify. Okay. Um, Houston, we have a problem. Okay. First or last name is Houston. Okay. Well, that's easy. Smith, Houston Smith.
They wrote a
No.
book called The Divine Within together.
Okay. So they are connected and they are, if I can understand it, I think it's coming through like it's one voice. And we were talking about the new I love Marvel movies, and the new Captain America is a Brave New World. So there's something about a Brave New World from one of them or both of them. But okay, very into mystical. There's a lot of things about like psychedelics, I think, that they have to offer here, which is very interesting. Okay,
Yeah,
consciousness
there's a
expanding.
talk. It's called The Possibilities of Psychedelic Spirituality today.
When was that? That had to be a long time ago. Um,
Yeah.
they're very much about unity, okay, but they were in their life about bringing religions and cultures together. So hold on, he's saying something here. Hold on.
Aldous wrote A Brave New World.
Okay, that's really strong in there. It's um like taking the best parts of I want to say religions. It's what it feels like coming from them. The best parts of all religion, and in that is like the great wisdom of humanity. If I'm saying that right. Okay. Oof. Oh, there we go. That's a lot. We're gonna get that's a lot. Okay. They were connected in life. They're connected, and they really speak with one voice. That's why this is interesting. I can feel the two. I can sense it. I can almost even see them. And in fact, the one that's identifying himself as Houston reminds me a lot of you, Gary, and the way he looks, the way he's showing himself. It's like the, gray and the beard and the mustache and like cheeks that I can really see him. But when they're communicating, it's merging. All right, there. Okay, there. I can do it a little bit. So, like speaking of intentions, if you guys want to start there, I don't know if you do. I think I can feel them being willing to give that to me separately. So,
Well,
wherever you guys want to start.
I'd like to get into it by asking what's so profound about psychedelics.
All right, so they are doing this together. They are saying, let us not begin with science nor mysticism, but with truth from direct knowing. Ooh, okay. Ooh, guys, this is strong. It's not as emotional as last time, but it's intense, the two. Um, Psychedelics are not the experience, they are a key. When someone ingests a sacramental compound, I think is what this word is, whether it is from a plant or a fungus or a synthetic root, one doesn't create a mystical experience. It was my earbud. Um, you unlock doors that are always present, but sealed shut by habit, fear, conditioning, and the density of the physical veil. You are not traveling outward. You are diving inward beyond the personal into the field where all forms arise. Uh, what occurs is a temporary loosening of the structure that you call you, the ego, the self narrative, and primarily the defense system. Ooh, okay. In that loosened space, light rushes in. Hmm. The realm that is touched is real. Your preparation determines what you perceive. If the lens is clouded with fear or unresolved pain, the inner world will reflect that. Okay. This is why they say, from their present view, they emphasize intention, humility, and containment.
What does containment mean?
The sacred container is not optional, it's part of the alchemy. Without it, one may see only surface sparks or worse, become lost in distortion. With it, you may glimpse the source behind all names, and return with gifts that last beyond the peak. The substance is not the gatekeeper. You are. The mushroom, the cactus, the molecule, they carry patterns, but they are not divine beings in and of themselves. Okay, I think I understand that. They are allies, teachers of impermanence and transparency. Okay, but you are the gate. Your soul is the temple. Your readiness determines what opens and how deeply you may walk through. To depend on the substance is to confuse invitation with arrival. You must integrate. You must live the vision, not just seek it again and again. The best use is not escape, it's revelation. Come to see yourself more truly and the world more wholly. Whole. Realize that the veil is thin, that you are held, and divine intelligence is infused in every molecule of you, every part of you. Psychedelics, when reverently approached, can remind you that the mystical is not rare. You are simply distracted. Then, they say, let go. Let go. There's more, but let's go on. Whew,
Okay.
there's a lot.
So if the psychedelic is a key, then each psychedelic holds a different key to a different realm. And also the dose of each psychic would be a different key to a deeper part of that realm, possibly.
Each consciousness is led in the moment to the one. The doors are opened that are ready to be opened. And it's all part of that, right? So you're led to do this, you do that, and it's this. It's not that they go to different realms necessarily. It's just how you're ready to receive it, I think. The real sacrament, see, they're interesting in their words. The real sacrament is not in the cup. It is in the life you live after drinking.
All right.
That's
Well,
got to be a quote from somebody. That's beautiful.
yeah.
Geez, if it's not, can I put that on a t-shirt? Um,
Okay.
okay.
So you have a psychedelic experience, you have a vision, and the idea is then to live that vision, not go back to the psychedelic for another vision,
Mhm.
even though the visions are different from one experience to the next.
Yes. There's, oh, well, you said they're kind of circumventing you a little bit here. Hold on. Um, at least it seems like they are. I think what they're addressing is fear. of the psychedelics because they're starting with um like to the words to one who is afraid. Your hesitation is not a weakness. It is a sign of care, of discernment, of inner wisdom. Watching from the shadows, saying, go slowly. Let me feel this. Do not override this voice. Listen to it with love, not with judgment. Fear is the doorway. It's not a wall. It's not the enemy. It's a like a guardian of thresholds. And the whisper is, this might change you. And that is true. You are not obligated to change by any force. You may rest in the teachings you already carry. You may find sacred in sunlight on your skin, in dreams, in service, in silence. The inner world is not reserved for the brave, but for the willing. And willingness blooms in its own time. Holy smokes.
So those who are willing will feel the pull when they're ready.
Yeah. And it is the fear is there. It's there for everyone. But to see it as a doorway to it, not a wall keeping you from it. And go slowly and feel your way through it. So it's a not to say no, never. It's to go slow, let me feel my way through this, I think is what I understand.
Let's talk about the LSD movement in the 60s and how that was widely adopted and radically changed culture at the time, but used as a party thing, even though everyone recognized it was an opening of consciousness. And then it was slammed shut by a reaction to it. But we can say some of the greatest works ever created were during the 60s. And then it seemed to be a period of retrenchment after that. And then a great deal of fear about psychedelics until recently. What happened in the 60s?
So as as with most things, there are cycles. And what they're showing me is the parents of those were quite resistant and controlling. And those psychedelics were returned to again and again as if the psychedelic was the experience, which they've addressed.
Right.
The psychedelic is not the experience, it's the key. Then those using the psychedelics as a party drug, it was the experience. And some lived with this integrated and lived, and they're going integrate, they're yelling about that. So I'll go back to that. And then the children of those also in the cycle rebel against the lifestyle of the parents. And this is a society thing. This is common. Is absolutely the way that the opening, the rise, the dip, the rise, nothing is constantly that way, right? Always expanding, but not this. So they're saying this is a natural cycle, and keep in mind that they were introduced and it was understood in some instances the consciousness opening, but primarily it was a party. It was a party. Yeah.
Yeah. So those who were doing it as a party were not integrating intentionally, but some integration was happening. How would one consciously and intentionally integrate the experience?
Okay. Yeah, they're talking about integration, integration, integration. Um, Integration begins with silence, not speech. Do not rush to explain the ineffable. Do not pressure yourself to be named what cannot be named. Let the experience rest in your body like seed in soil. And they're referring to the DNA activations as well, in that they're showing me that, okay, let it speak to you in dreams, in symbols, in subtle shifts of attention. Some truths ripen slowly. Okay, some insights arrive not in words, but in the way your feet touch the ground. Speak if the words come clearly, but first listen. Okay, that's the first part of integration. This is long. Your life is like a canvas. You do not need to become a teacher, start a podcast, write a memoir. What matters the most is, how do you treat the next person you see? What small habits no longer fit for you? And what feels newly sacred? Okay. Your breath, your food, the morning. The vision of the medicine was a gift. Your choices are the offering you make in return. Let the wisdom integrate at all levels. Not only emotional, but mental, spiritual, physical, relational. What new thought patterns are arising? What old ones are falling away? What does your body need now? More movement, more stillness. What relationships need attending or releasing? What kind of spiritual practice calls to you now? These are all integration, to treat yourself not as something that's to be fixed, but, oh wow, this visual is cool, but a sacred ecosystem adjusting to new light.
Explain how the light comes in during the experience. And does that light stay with you?
To have, oh, this explains that, I guess it does. To have touched something vast, radiant, or the word is almost like terrifyingly beautiful, but if I can get it out, is no small thing. It is touching the light, the loosening and inward. The light is in. It pours into the being. When you return, the world may not look unchanged to you, but you are changed, right? Because of the light. The question is not how the light comes in, the question is, how will you live what you saw in the light?
You have an experience, you see the light, but there's no actual thing changing other than the experience. But of course, the experience must alter the vibration to some degree. Some physical change is happening because it seems so real and so intense and realer than real is that experience of something that feels so real, the thing that changes you? Or is there an actual physiological or spiritual change that's going on?
It is all of that.
Okay.
It is all the same.
Okay.
Okay.
So when someone does an intense mushroom journey, 8 hour journey, massive dose, hero's dose of mushrooms, completely different than a fun dose of mushrooms, right? And um, they have an experience over 8 hours that seems completely different for different people. Some are in fear, some are having a good time, rainbows and unicorns, some are serpents coming out of them. From their human perspective, they're seeing something that they need to see, but is anything actually physically happening? Is this just another illusion? Or is this a different level? And this feeling of
Having
separation
fun with
feels
this.
real, right?
Right.
This illusion of separation feels totally real. We are immersed in this. And a psychedelic trip feels totally real too. So we know nothing really is happening here except when you break your arm, you really feel it.
Right. So this is great. So they're reminding me of something that they said, I think earlier, which is that the psyche is a lens. There's nothing particularly real about our reality that we experience in our body. And there is nothing particularly real in the experience of the psychedelic. It is how deep you are going into two different worlds, the physical world and in this world.
The inner world.
Be right, because the psyche, this is still involved. The clouds of fear, that unresolved pain, um, the as we move with a psychedelic into the inner world, that will be reflected because it can't go. To go more deeply, that has to be resolved, and it is resolved, but neither is any more real than the other, or any more unreal
When
than the
people
other.
do ayahuasca, many of them see the same thing at first, a serpent trying to kill them, right? Wrapping themselves around them, trying to eat them, coming right at them. And as soon as they let that go and let their fear go of this serpent, then they go on to another level, which a lot of people describe in a similar way. And so that first level then is the unresolved fear that is being shown, and the experience would be then to let go of the fear, to move on. And that seems to be reoccurring to so many people in ayahuasca. There's also very similar psychedelic experiences because there's a similar level of fear in lots of people.
Yeah, so what they're saying is this oneness, um, was is not a metaphor from their perspective, now, to speak of their difference, the difference in their perspective when they were in life, right? When they were here, and their perspective now. So, okay, what they're saying, this unity that they spoke of in life was not a metaphor. And the similarities and experiences reflect this. The uniqueness of each experience also reflects the unique combinations of beliefs and experience and from all the lives, this life, it reflects all of it. So you it's sort of like a, how do they want to explain that, a movie that is just giving you proof that of the unity. So they say it is okay, all things, all selves, and none. We are in it. We are it. There is no more line between subject and object, no veil between question and answer. Okay. Mystics are not being poetic, they are being literal. So they're saying that from their perspective now, and one thing they want to say here too, and it relates to the psychedelic experience, but they're sort of moving beyond the psychedelic thing too. Um, they say what we glimpsed in life through psychedelic experience and meditative stillness, we now in this non-physical live as the default state. The mind is no longer binding. Form is, there's no containment, and the movement is through like layers of light. If you guys could see what I'm saying, it's really beautiful with the fluidity of music. Consciousness is not a personal possession, it is a field, responsive, co-creative, and constantly unfolding. It has flavors and textures, colors that are not visible to human eyes. And yes, it loves, it plays, and it learns.
Tell us how ceremony and ritual benefit and an intention in this.
Ceremony and ritual, as it relates to, they're tying our DNA activations a lot to this psychedelic conversation. And you are in this, in a psychedelic experience, in a DNA activation. You are not just working with vibration, working with memory, with frequency and remembrance at a cellular level. Your DNA is not merely a chemical script. It's multidimensional, like a temple. It has intelligent design, sacred geometry, light, and intention. So, sound vibrates the gate. They will go deeper here, I think, but presence, that is part of ceremony and ritual. It brings us, we are present in our presence in it. It's a field where change becomes possible when we are present. Um, it's held within that container of presence, right? That sacred consent of the moment.
Mm.
Before you begin a psychedelic, a DNA activation, before you tone or even speak or sing, arrive, be fully here. Okay. That is what ceremony and ritual, part of that devotion is, like this flame that opens the gate. It's the heart's posture of surrender. It's the heart's posture of surrender. Um, Not to some deity or a belief. but to the unfolding, oh, this is a beautiful phrase, unfolding of, no, unfolding intelligence of the soul's design. When you offer sound and presence in devotion, not in performance, not ego, not doubt, you create conditions for deep cellular trust. And the psychedelic experience, the de-inactivation, the cellular regeneration and healing, this is where this is a space for this to occur. Love softens the looks. Love dissolves resistance. Love says, I remember who I am. So true devotion is magnetic. It draws in the unseen. Oh, it lights the chamber where the sacred work happens. So this is the reason for ritual and ceremony. It's sound, presence, and devotion is what they're calling it.
So it gets you into the space that you're in the most, mindset of cultivating and ready and willing and accepting of whatever is going to take place. So this could be beneficial to people going into surgery then.
It benefits you before you begin anything.
Well, let's let them go on to the next topic. I could talk about psychedelics forever, but it seems like there's something else they want to talk about.
Okay. Um,
How about DNA activations then? This
okay.
concept that we can get to a space with presence ceremony, allow the music, the tone, the hertz, the words of power, the light language, the community of it to activate a DNA, bringing in light codes, all of that stuff.
Mm.
There's only a few of us doing this intentionally at this level. We don't even know why we're doing it. We have everyone has a unique observation of what they experience. Some people really experience visions and sounds and hear things, and that happens from different occasions. Sometimes you don't feel anything at all. Completely unlike a psychedelic experience where many times you don't feel anything at all and you don't notice any change until after the fact. What's actually happening here?
You're not adding anything to yourself. You are releasing what blocks your original brilliance. Mm. DNA activation, it's not a gimmick. Okay. It's a process of unveiling, of unfolding, of reclaiming your divine architecture. This work you do in this circle ripples, not just through your bodies, but through your lineage, your planet, your species. Okay. You are helping humanity to remember its original assignment. Okay. To be divine in form, to let heaven walk barefoot on earth. So when you tone with reverence. Okay. When you chant with joy. When you speak in the languages of light, speak as if every cell in the room has been waiting to hear you. I just got goosebumps because it has. We see you. We bless this work. We walk beside it. Huh. In harmony and love. Huh. Okay. Did that answer that? It
Yeah.
was really cool.
So on one hand, it releases, which we realized, right? And on the other hand, it I guess it activates that which is now ready to be activated, that is on the divine path to be divine in form. Is it like
Yeah.
accelerated evolution? Is evolution not the change or mutation to DNA structure, but the activation of dormant DNA?
No. Um, I think what they're showing me here is we just switched a little way of communicating in some of those pictures, but evolution, while it seems like it's influenced by other physical um, uh, either races, planets, and also very much here on Earth, evolution is so very physical in its nature. There's so much DNA that cannot be perceived yet physically by our doctors and scientists, these things. DNA activation is activating what is there, what is already there in the architecture. Evolution changes the architecture.
So the architecture then is the blueprint from the beginning of man becoming divine on, on Earth, right? So that was that original DNA structure blueprint was there. Then there's whatever happens to it along the way, but this activation is releasing that in that one um, blueprint or destiny that was the original blueprint of that human DNA.
I think what they're saying is that this or, original, it's like there's never a plan, I think is what they're showing me. It's not a plan. It's
Intention?
yeah, it seems like it's uh, a collective intention, a curiosity, a movement forward. Hold on, they're getting kind of, hold on, let me just go with what they're saying. So by the way, they've got a couple names for you guys in this group, and it's like um they've called you pilgrims or us pilgrims, but a couple times it's like I just haven't been able to say it because I'm like, that's just weird. Quit using weird names. Something about intention here. So they're just saying, okay, imagine um, a thought of let me be born where East meets West. Wow. Okay. I'm not sure I'm getting this very clearly.
Where physical meets non-physical.
Maybe that's it. An intention to live within the infinite itself. It's this kind of broadness that is the plan, that is
Mhm.
the blueprint for humanity.
Let's say that this group goes through the activations and has children. Will those children be born with activated DNA?
This is not an absolute. It's not an absolute. It is all, it's intent, vibration. There is no absolute any more than there is a congenital illness or issue that must go, and then yet it doesn't. It's no more a an absolute than that. Is it possible? Is it happening? Yes.
Okay. So if one didn't go through the activations, didn't have activated DNA, then the child wouldn't be born with activated DNA. They could get activated later, of course. But
It could be, they
but
say.
it
There's,
could be.
it
Okay.
is, yeah, it is, there is much more going on than
Um,
this category, and this will always be this way. There's just not that way.
well, let's imagine that the Pilgrims landing on Plymouth Rock gave birth to this nation
They
as it
left
is now.
Plymouth and they landed on Plymouth. Imagine that. Go ahead.
Yeah,
Sorry. What?
that's right.
I didn't go far.
Let's say that they are the pilgrims and led to this earth through their, you know, having children and raising families, along with others who immigrated, right? But they were the first settlers of that.
Mhm.
So, yeah, so that's where I sort of get the picture now. It's like they didn't create America, it was part them and part of a lot of other things.
It was always there.
Right,
They
it's always
just
there.
uncovered it.
I'm talking about
Right.
United States of America.
Well, right.
Yeah,
The
but
place itself.
okay,
Well, even that was always there, they
yeah.
say.
So this is just one way of moving towards that intention, towards that
Hmm.
promise.
Hmm.
One question before we go.
Okay, but they have, okay, go ahead, but they've got something
Oh, let's
that's
go.
coming.
Yeah.
So um I think I was as we were talking, I told you guys they call you pilgrims, and they have some other things they call you, but I was asking if like, why they're speaking like this, and the other ones gave us a letter sort of to write, and so I think that's what they're doing. But if you have a question or somebody does,
No,
just ask it, and
I'd
then
like
I'm
to hear.
okay. Okay. All right, you can go. So they're calling you all, or I guess us, me too, but um keepers of the flame, dear keepers of the flame. And they're saying something specific to me, and I think it is a reference to a question I asked. I probably shouldn't say it out loud. They're saying to me specifically, you intended to be a map maker, not a monument. It's because some things it makes me a bit uncomfortable, right? The center of thing, and that's why. And they're explaining that. Okay, but they're saying to all of you, dear keepers of the flame, you are doing more than you know. With every note you sound, every sacred word you breathe, okay? Every quiet tremble in your heart that says yes, even if you don't understand it at all, you are participating in a great unfolding. You are not alone. The stars remember, the earth listens. Your ancestors gather like soft winds behind you. And in this gathering, this circle, you have become more than individuals. Okay, they're talking about us now, this group. You have become a field, a resonance, a temple built not of stone, but of sound, trust, and love. Do not measure your impact by drama. It may arrive in tears or in stillness. It may appear as light or silence, but always it is real. So continue, tone with tenderness. They're talking about the sound a lot, you guys. Speak with joy, but as frequencies woven into your remembering. Go gently, go together, and let the light in your DNA light the path for others.
That's amazing. All right. I know we're running out of time, but I just had
Yeah.
this one question. What does Darwin and modern evolutionary science have wrong about DNA? Something quick you could give us to maybe shift a perspective.
They have no idea what is there. There are far more than 12 strands. That's for somebody. Far more than 12 strands. It is the the blueprint of your soul, with this physical body being a tiny grain of sand in an ocean. That is what they believe they know of DNA and how much they don't know. Okay. I'm going to make some people mad with that one.
So, would it be
Okay.
possible in the future to analyze the DNA and find something about a past life?
Yes.
Mhm.
It can be done now. It's there.
Great.
Oh, they're sort of teasing and saying there's um even in this circle, and in others, understand that it is a form that comes from a field. So in essence, when we read someone or say, I see a past life where you were this, or a time of this, this is in essence what we are doing. The DNA is something that emerges from a field. And when we are in that field, we are in essence reading that DNA. It's just an acceptance of that and an understanding. They're saying a formula, a way to do it, a belief in it. But there are those in this group doing it easily.
Great. Well, that was fantastic.